It all started at the home center. I was walking down the lumber aisle, dreaming up my next project. My eyes scanned the prices. They went from expensive to really expensive. Then I saw it. Tucked away at the bottom of a rack was a pile of wood with a bright yellow tag. The price was so low, I thought it was a mistake. This was the cheapest wood in the entire store. It was like finding a treasure. I knew, deep down, that there was a reason it was so cheap. People always say, you get what you pay for. But my wallet was feeling a little light that day. I told myself, how bad can it be? Wood is wood, right? I decided to ignore all the warnings I'd ever heard. I was going to build something amazing with this bargain lumber. My confidence was soaring as I loaded the cart. I felt like I had outsmarted the system. Everyone else was paying top dollar for perfect straight boards, but not me. I was the savvy woodworker who could see the potential in these forgotten planks. I looked at the pile and imagined a beautiful bookshelf or a sturdy workbench. The boards themselves were a sight to behold. Some were twisted like pretzels. Others had more knots than a Boy Scout's handbook. There were cracks, splits, and weird green and blue stains on a few of them. But I wasn't discouraged. I saw these imperfections as character. I told myself I could work around the bad spots. It would be a fun challenge. When I got the wood back to my workshop, my optimism was still high. I stacked the boards against the wall and stood back, admiring my haul. I felt a sense of pride. I was going to prove that you don't need expensive materials to make something great. This project would be a testament to skill over budget. I thought about all the money I saved. I could use that extra cash for new tools or more project supplies. It felt like a total win. I grabbed my tape measure, ready to get started. The first board I picked up was so warped it rocked back and forth on my flat workbench. It was a little wobble, I thought. I can handle a little wobble. My plan was simple. I would cut the pieces, sand them smooth, and assemble them with wood glue and screws. It seemed straightforward enough. I thought the process would be just like any other project, maybe with a little extra sanding. I figured the character of the wood would really shine through once I put a coat of finish on it. I was so focused on the final product that I completely overlooked the journey to get there. I didn't realize that this cheap wood wasn't just going to be a part of the project. It was going to fight me every single step of the way. My quick weekend project was about to become a long, frustrating saga, and it all started with that first wobbly board. The problem started the moment I tried to measure. When you're dealing with wood that's more curved than a banana, getting a straight line is nearly impossible. I'd lay my tape measure down, and one end of the board would be a full inch off the workbench. I tried to flatten it with my hand, but it was like wrestling a stubborn mule. Every measurement I took felt like a guess. I'd mark a line, but because the surface was so uneven, the line would look wavy. I thought my pencil was bent. It wasn't the pencil, it was the wood. I spent more time trying to find a flat reference edge than I did actually marking my cuts. This was not the quick start I had hoped for. Then came the cutting. Oh, the cutting. I took the first warped board to my miter saw. I lined up my wavy pencil mark with the blade as best I could. When I brought the saw down, the blade pinched. The wood twisted under the pressure. Instead of a clean, straight cut, I got a jagged, burned edge. The saw screeched in protest. Splinters flew everywhere, like wooden shrapnel. I tried again on another piece, this time with my circular saw. As I pushed the saw forward, the board split right along a giant knot. A huge chunk just fell off. My perfectly measured piece was now a piece of firewood. Every single cut was a gamble. After several failed attempts, I finally had a few pieces that were roughly the right size. Now it was time for assembly. This is where the real fun began. I tried to join two pieces together at a right angle. Because of the warp and twist, they met with a gap so wide you could slide a pizza through it. No amount of wood glue was going to fill that canyon. I grabbed my clamps, thinking I could force the boards into submission. I tightened one clamp, and the other side of the board would pop up. I added another clamp, and the wood started to crack under the pressure. It was a frustrating, impossible puzzle. Nothing was square, nothing was flush, and everything was difficult. The whole process felt like one step forward and two steps back. For every piece I successfully cut, 2 more were ruined. My scrap bin filled up faster than my project came together. The splinters were relentless. My hands looked like I'd been petting a porcupine. The cheap wood was not just difficult to work with, it was actively working against me. My simple bookshelf idea was turning into a modern art sculpture of failure. The time I thought I'd save by grabbing the cheap wood was disappearing fast. I wasn't saving time. I was losing it in a flurry of frustration, sawdust, and splintery rage. The dream of a quick, cheap project was officially dead. One of the biggest lessons this project taught me was about the true cost of materials. The price tag on that pile of wood was low, but the real cost was much higher. I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about time. A project that should have taken a single weekend stretched into weeks. Every step took 3 times as long as it should have. I spent hours just trying to find usable sections of wood, cutting away the worst of the knots and splits. I spent hours fighting to make pieces fit together. All that time I was supposed to be enjoying my hobby, I was just feeling frustrated. My precious workshop time, the time I used to relax and be creative, was spent on damage control. Then there's the cost of frustration. Woodworking is supposed to be fun, but working with terrible materials can suck all the joy out of it. When every cut is a struggle and every joint is a fight, it's easy to get discouraged. A beginner facing these challenges might think they are the problem. They might think, I'm just not good at this. They might give up on woodworking altogether, not realizing that the wood itself is setting them up for failure. That's a huge hidden cost. It can kill your motivation and make you question your own skills. This cheap wood didn't just test my patience, it nearly broke my spirit. It turned a creative outlet into a chore. Let's also talk about the waste. I thought I was getting a bargain, but I probably threw away a third of the wood I bought. Some pieces were so twisted they were unusable. Others split and cracked as soon as I looked at them. So, was it really that cheap? If you have to buy 30% more material just to get enough usable wood, your savings start to shrink pretty quickly. And that's not even counting the extra screws I used trying to force boards together, or the sandpaper I wore out trying to smooth the rough, splintery surfaces. When you add it all up, the financial savings were minimal, but the cost in wasted material and extra supplies was significant. Now, that's not to say cheap wood is always useless. It does have its place. It's great for practicing new techniques. If you want to test a new joinery method or a new finish, using cheap wood means you're not risking expensive material. It's also perfect for making shop jigs, temporary supports, or simple storage crates for the garage. For tasks where appearance and precision aren't the top priorities, cheap wood is a fine choice. But for a piece of furniture, something you want to be proud of, something you want to be flat and square and strong, it's a terrible choice. You have to match the material to the project. And I had chosen very, very poorly for my bookshelf. After weeks of struggling, I finally finished my project. It resembled a bookshelf in the same way a child's drawing resembles a car. It leaned to one side. The shelves were wavy. The gaps in the joints were filled with an ungodly amount of wood filler. It was, without a doubt, the ugliest thing I have ever built. But as I stood back and looked at my wobbly creation, I didn't feel angry anymore. I felt like I had learned something incredibly valuable. This rickety bookshelf was a monument to a lesson I would never forget. The lesson was simple. Your project is only as good as the materials you start with. You simply cannot build a great project with terrible wood. For any beginners out there, please listen to my story. I know it's tempting to save money on lumber. You want to get started without spending a fortune. But trust me, you are not doing yourself any favors. Starting with bad wood is like trying to learn to drive in a car with a flat tire and a crooked steering wheel. You'll spend all your time fighting the car instead of learning how to drive. Good, straight, clear lumber makes everything easier. Your measurements will be accurate. Your cuts will be clean. Your joints will fit together tightly. You'll be able to focus on learning the skills of woodworking, not on battling your materials. So here's my advice. When you go to the store, take your time in the lumber aisle. Don't just grab the first boards off the top of the pile. Look down the edge of each board to see if it's straight. This is called sighting. Check for twists, bows, and cups. Look for large, loose knots or cracks that could weaken your project. It's better to pay a little more for a few good boards than to buy a big pile of junk. Think of it as an investment in your project, your time, and your sanity. Your future self will thank you when you're not trying to clamp a board that looks like a pigtail. In the end, I learned that the foundation of any good project is good material. Skill can take you a long way, but it can't turn a pretzel into a straight board. My hilarious DIY adventure with the cheapest wood taught me to respect the materials. It taught me that saving a few dollars up front can cost you dearly in time, frustration, and the final quality of your work. So, save the cheap wood for your practice cuts and your paint-stirring sticks. When you're ready to build something you care about, give it the good stuff. It deserves it. And frankly, so do you. The journey should be as rewarding as the destination.